Today, we're going to do a day in the life conversation between John, Pat, Roddy, and I.
We're going to call it how it is. No amping it up for the cameras. Today, we're going to be real. We're going to be authentic.
So am I doing the intro right now?
Yeah, let's run it.
Yeah, I guess we got some outtakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Gotta have them.
Seeing Pat. I like the new comic book dad shirt. Looks great. Look at all those footballs and helmets. But welcome to the No Days Off podcast by Dad Season. Today, we're going to do a day in the life conversation between John, Pat, Roddy, and I. It's a really popular thing on YouTube. I feel like every time I go on YouTube for something impactful, it's like a day in the life. And then I'll watch the episode of someone doing something high performance. And then all of a sudden next week comes around, there's another day in the life with that person. I'm like, you just did a day in the life. But I then watch it and I'm intrigued. I'm motivated. I don't know if everyone just does their most epic day. We're just going to do what we're trying to do and what we are doing in a general weekday, because being fathers in a, father in training,
Yep.
weekends are always a crapshoot. You never know what's going to happen. Our kids have a bunch of different sports. You never know what activities, etc. So this is going to be a weekday, day in the life episode.
Yep. We're going to call it how it is. No amping it up for the cameras. Today, we're going to be real. We're going to be authentic. And I need to know, Pat, what are all those footballs behind you?
These are all my personal accolades, John. I know that I have to broadcast them, but I thought that I didn't have a suitable backdrop last time. So I worked very hard. I threw some kid stuff in the background too. It's a football and fatherhood podcast. So that's what I'm trying to do. Day in the life. John, let me just say, the day in the life thing, I think a lot of them front.
100%.
Just like every social media influencer. There's no way those people are that productive.
I feel like they shoot it over the course of like 2 weeks and then just edit it together as though it's one day.
Where there's like 30 workouts in one day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Nick, I think we should be real about, I was actually going to start shooting some of that content of grabbing like, I'm going to make breakfast for the kids. And it just never turns out exactly how you want. I'm like, I'm going to be a good dad, make pancakes. And it's like, I don't want pancakes. I'm going to film all of that. They want to see that.
That's
real. Throw the pancakes back at me.
Oh, breakfast with kids. You can have this epic plan of, all right, today I'm going to do this, this, and this. And my boys specifically, they just come downstairs and I want a bar. I want a bar.
Always a bar.
Like all Bodie says is like, we just asked him what he wanted for lunch. He goes, a bar and a bar. And that's just what he wants. And it's just tough. But I think too, being real and authentic, but I also think the day in the life thing is intriguing, because also to applaud the people on YouTube, we're sort of having fun with it. It is motivating. I think a lot of them, I know Bear Performance Nutrition does a lot with their athletes, and that's a big thing they do. And their founder, Nick Bear, who has been a founder-led business, he's done a really nice job with storytelling. His day in the lives are pretty epic, but there's a lot of them, but it's also because it's motivating a community. So that being said, they're doing a great job. He's also a father. Maybe someday we get him on the pod or, do a training session with him or something, Pat. Or maybe throw him some footballs. Maybe I have him run some routes.
Dude, that would be sick.
But what I love about it is it's motivating. I enjoy it. And then I've been working since I've left the NFL on building a routine that I can live by and stand by, that puts me in a position to be my best each day, not only physically but mentally and spiritually. And it's been a challenge to figure that out. And that's why watching those things are very intriguing. A lot of times it's younger adults that are doing it. It's just them. They're trying to build their business. They're trying to build their fitness, and it's really cool to watch. But there is an X factor out there. There's not kids in the picture, which does change things. So that's where, someone like Nick Bear, who's doing it with kids, is very impressive. So we're going to get in that today. So I just want to start this off by just talking about morning routines. We're going to break it up in morning, afternoon, night, all that good stuff. But let's just talk about some morning routines. John, how do you like to start your mornings during the weekday? What are you doing right now?
Well, I'm kicking things off with bulletproof coffee almost immediately. I wish that I could Huberman it every morning, get my feet in the grass, look at the sun, and I try to. But
do you wait 60 to 90 minutes? Or do you?
Not a chance. Usually it's rolling out of the bed, water on, French press, boom. Butter in, MCT oil in, honey in, blend it.
That'd be a beautiful video. I love when they do the videos of the coffee being poured and the making of the coffee. It's so good, and y'all are great at it. So this might be something we have to do in the future.
Yeah, we could go cinematic on that. I am drinking Danger Coffee, which I love. Dave Asprey's new coffee, new-ish coffee
Minerals.
company. Yeah, toxin-free, mold-free, remineralized. So trying to do that because I am drinking a little more coffee than I probably should in the morning just to get going. But then the usual routine these days is banana pancakes for the kiddos. They are loving them.
Oh, tell us about this.
2 eggs in, 1 banana, whisk it around, and throw it on the griddle. Easy peasy. A little cinnamon on top.
So
that's it.
Wait, hold on.
There's no mix.
There's no mix.
No, you mix that together.
So eggs.
2 eggs, 1 banana.
Cinnamon.
And a little cinnamon.
And you just mix it together.
Mix it together.
And it makes a pancake.
Throw it on the griddle.
Egg pancake.
Yeah. And it's perfect. They think it's a pancake, and it's healthy, and it's good fuel.
This might that's pretty special.
That's
I'm
it.
gonna try.
You heard
that.
it.
Hey, you heard it here. John's Pancakes.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the bulletproof coffee though. Where did this come from?
So, interesting. So Danielle, one of the early things we bonded on, my wife and I, was our love for bulletproof coffee. But she learned about it from you.
And yes, she did. I was big in bulletproof throughout my career. Took it in the morning. I needed all the mental fuel.
You and Tori, I should say.
Yeah, Tori as well. Dave Asprey was doing biohacking, just optimizing the body throughout my career. I was always trying to optimize my body, recovery, energy. As Pat knows, you expend so much physical and mental energy each day in the NFL. I was constantly going through playbooks, figuring out plays. So how do I enhance the mental productivity and fuel my brain? And the MCT oil, the grass-fed butter, I do it a little bit different with I add, the collagen. I do like some raw honey. I put honey in my coffee all the time, but it's a great mix.
Yeah, no, it is a great mix. And then you sprinkle in a little methylene blue under the tongue.
Tell us about this.
Just for optimization.
Yes.
Roddy, why don't you tell us about the meth?
Well, the methylene blue is got a lot of profound qualities, as we all know.
It can also stain your lips and your mouth.
It'll definitely stain your lips and your mouth, but it feeds your mitochondria, oxygenates all your cells, antivirus, so it'll keep you from getting sick, especially if you have kids that are exposed to germs, right? Of course I don't, but one day I will.
How
God
sick are the
willing.
kids right now, by the way? Everyone is sick.
Yeah.
Is this going on in Florida? Influenza A, whatever. B, like
Tori
neurovirus.
Tori just got over B.
Dude, this
But
is
John,
nuts.
your whole family was sick, and you didn't get sick, and you're on methylene blue every day.
That's right. That's right. We're optimizing, boys.
With a
I
little
think you
red
should have
light.
the blue tongue in this podcast.
Yeah, I should have. I actually forgot to
That's
take
what
it today.
But it's not all the same, right? Quality is everything.
True.
Quality is everything. But yeah, so for me, the mornings are basically that. Get the kids ready for school. Romy is 10 months old, so she usually gets unbelievably dirty while eating breakfast, so we give her a little bath. And then I'm heading to the gym by 8:40 at the latest. And for me, this type of training, MMA training, is new, and it's so taxing, almost like what you were saying of like, I need fuel. And eating breakfast I don't usually eat breakfast because the bulletproof is so filling. But I've just been like lobbing cottage cheese and peanut butter with a banana in a bowl and just like scarfing it on the way.
No, that's great. I think all those are great content just for fuel source. A lot of healthy fats in there that will last a little bit longer. I mean, that's the thing is you don't want to bonk.
Right.
You don't want to all of a sudden go through a workout and, bonk. But there's also, fasting's a big thing too.
Yep.
Intermittent fasting's been really popular. I've done everything in between. There's different seasons of everything. You just have to do what works for you to put you in the best position. That's why I think the day in the life is fascinating because we could do this conversation right now, and then in a month from now, we've all adapted and changed. Or there's different types of training. There's different seasons of life. So everything's always evolving.
Yeah, and to your point, there is no shade on day in the lives. I absolutely love them.
I love them.
Always watch them because that's how we learn, right? And that's the community we're trying to build to like inspire others to be fully optimized. Like you said, fitness, family, faith, spirituality. Like if we can kind of label what our pillars of that matter to us, then you can start to figure out how to optimize each of those. But I think we're all curious, Nick, what does your morning look like?
Yeah, that's been the big thing I've been working on since I left the NFL was just what is my routine like Pat knows, Pat was with the 49ers for half the year last year. He's had a long NFL career. He's going to get picked up soon. He's still training, punting, all that good stuff. And you have a routine that's played, out before you, and then you add a little bit of extra maintenance and film and whatever in. But for me, that's been the struggle. So the last couple of weeks, I've sort of found a sweet spot, and the key has been this: going to bed earlier and waking up earlier. So the last couple of weeks, my routine's been 4:45 to 5 a.m. is my wake-up call. I get up. My dog Henry's about to be 11. We go downstairs. We start the day off. I go down there, and I have a drink mixture right now. I just had blood work done. I got to get all my results, see where everything is. So this is probably going to change supplement-wise, but I do a mixture of whatever electrolytes I'm taking. Today, my fuel source was GM1 Sport by Bear Performance Nutrition because I'm running a lot now. I'm training for a couple halves, marathon, maybe an ultra. I do that with AG1, with colostrum, and vitamin C. I do this C plus Biofizz. I mix it up. I drink it with some methylene blue under the tongue for the mitochondrial cell function. Add a little red light therapy because it absorbs. Roddy was the one who was sharing that with me. It helps it absorb. Sunlight's probably the best way, but it's pretty early. It's still dark outside. So I do all that, and then I sit down at my table, and I pull out I used to do a journal, like paper and my Bible, but I like having everything digital with me. So I pull out my tablet, the one I have here. I can write on it. I like writing. Half my screen is the YouVersion Bible. The other half of my screen, I use all the different notes. Right now, since I'm on Samsung, I use Samsung Notes. I really like it. It's kept me organized. And I do the verse of the day, and then I'm doing the Bible in the year. So I will listen to it and sort of follow along, and then I take my notes on the screen of like what's coming to my heart, what I'm reading, and then I'll sort of outline, after I do my Bible study and all that, I outline my day, how do I want to attack it, and then usually, Mother Nature takes its course, have to go to the restroom. I have a old school bulletproof when they had vibration plate. It's just one frequency, so right before I go and run, I go stand on that for 3 to 4 minutes, get my body warmed up.
That's awesome.
That's over here laughing. But this is my routine. This is what's working for me.
Great routine.
And so after that, it's about probably 5:50. I put on my running shoes, trying out a bunch of different running shoes. Got a pair of New Balance, Hoka, and I wore some Asics this morning for my base run. It was awesome. They were actually fantastic. I get all equipped for that. I put my headphones in. I have my Garmin Phoenix 8 watch loaded up with a workout from Training Peaks. It's this software. Any runner out there probably knows it, but I'm doing an 80-20, 16-week half marathon plan. I need to build back my base. Going to run a half marathon, I think, at the 10-week mark as part of my training. And then at the end, we're going to find another one, try to break the record of 148. I go for my training run, get back. It's probably 6:30, 6:35, 6:40. My youngest son is crawling out of his crib right now, so that's becoming an issue because he starts waking up everyone really early in the morning. Run back into the house, go grab him, bring him downstairs, start breakfast at 7 o'clock if my Lily and Duke aren't up. Go turn on the light, wake them up, put out, Tori has put out their clothes the night before, tell them to get dressed, come down, start breakfast, and then, Tori comes down, and then we sort of tag team it, and we just figure out who's doing what drop-offs. We have 2 different schools, so we figure that out in the morning, drop the kids off. So all drop-offs are done around 8:40, and then that's sort of the morning that, takes us into the afternoon. But a lot of that in between is, I'll work on some dad season stuff. We have a lot of new apparel we're planning, so there might be a meeting in there, podcast development, and then that eventually get a lift in. And that's before the afternoon starts. But the biggest thing for me is waking up early, going to bed early, so I can get that time to myself in the morning to do the journaling, to go on a run, to then be in the best position for when the kids wake up. I've spent that time alone and optimized it to where I'm ready for them, and I'm not reacting to them. I'm not waking up like I was before at 6:45 and they're waking up and I'm like reacting to everything. I'm now prepared for what's to come, and that's the chaos and beautiful kids that I love so much, but I'm a better dad now because of that.
That's beautiful. Yeah, discipline isn't just waking up and early, it's going to bed early.
That was the thing. I tried to go to bed like at this normal time and then wake up early, and I kept hitting snooze. And if anyone listens, like, you can't hit snooze. I do wear my watch to sleep out of respect for my wife. I wear my watch. I love the Phoenix 8 because it has a flashlight on it too. See if you can turn it on. Look at that. You can see it, little flashlight. So in the night, if you're, I don't want to step on Henry. And then I have a vibration alarm because I don't want to wake up Tori. But it also, not having noise, like I really have to like get up because the noise is annoying and you do jump up. So it's that discipline. But going to bed early has been the biggest hack of my life. And then waking up early, building it to like the 4:45 mark is like a sweet spot for me to get everything in. And it's really been beneficial these last couple of weeks. And it's something that I hope I can keep planning.
That's awesome. That's an optimal morning. What time is bedtime?
Bedtime for me, ideally, would be 9 p.m. It's anywhere from 9 to 9:30. And my wife knows. She's like, what's going on? I was like, hey, like I'm going on
runs. Are we going to watch a show?
So what we do is we were watching shows downstairs, but then she'd sort of fall asleep on the couch. Then we'd have to get her up and all that stuff. So I'm like, hey, I know people out there be like, you shouldn't bring a tablet into the bedroom. But I'm like, listen, this is what's working for us. Everyone's different. So I'll bring the tablet in. I'll set it on the bed because if she falls asleep, she's already in bed. We'll watch a show. Like last night, we watched White Lotus. We like White Lotus, High Potential, and then the show Doc. Those are our 3 shows right now because that's just time to let the brain rest. But we'll get into that later. But
White Lotus is a masterpiece.
White Lotus, yes.
Come on.
We're on that too.
So good.
we'll get on that. But I have no clue. Like, is it? Like, I keep
it's
watching
hard.
it, but every episode I'm like, did anything just happen?
I know. Some guy gives a weird look, and you're like,
"Oh, what's going on?" All right, that was a lot about me in the morning. Now that I said it out loud, that is a lot of things I do in the morning.
That's a big morning.
But you have to build a routine. So that wasn't built overnight, right? It was starting out waking up at 5:30 and building it down to 4:45. It was also adding in what works for me. Everyone's different, so I think the hardest thing we do is start like someone's gonna listen to that and be like, "I'm gonna do all that." Just do one little thing. Like if you're having trouble waking up early, just go 15 minutes earlier and build down and then add in there until it becomes a routine where you go down there and this is what puts you in the best position to be the best version of yourself throughout the day. It doesn't all happen overnight, but the point of this is to share what we're doing. So maybe you can take a little nugget and add it in. But Pat, that's us two.
Okay, top that, Pat.
Pat's in Florida. Dude. So we're in California. Pat's in Florida, different time zone. So
there is no way I'm going to be able to top that. I thought I was productive, but you are the most productive man in the world. You could do a day in the life.
Hey, I've struggled getting there. Now I got to be consistent. But hey, no one's perfect. What do you got? What do you got for us?
You know what? I'm not going to lie to you. I wake up probably like 6:15, 6:30. I'm not like a 4:30 guy like you, but I get up. And the first thing I do is go to our balcony because I moved the cold plunge off the balcony. And the sun is kind of rising like 6:30. I try to get in the cold plunge for 3 to 4 minutes. And then John put me on basically journaling, right? But I do a gratitude. I try to write something down, like if I'm in the cold tub and like have my phone in the timer and then the sun's rising, I think I'm like, trying to be the best Dave Asprey that I could possibly be. I'm trying to be that guy seeing the sunrise, doing some biohacking. But then the little one gets up, Shelby's feeding him, and I got her doing the cold plunge. She couldn't do 30 seconds.
No way.
Yeah, she would like scream, like, I can't do this. So now she's like up to, 4 minutes. She thinks she's a real badass. So it's cool
impressive.
that we can,
What's the temp at?
do something like. So the temperature is like, it's not super cold, like 45,
that's
47.
Solid. No, that's great.
But
very solid.
Rod can chime in. What are the benefits under 50 degrees?
Supposedly no added benefits physically.
But I guess mental
50.
toughness.
Mental toughness.
Which is something.
Yeah, which counts for something.
It does.
I read something yesterday that Morozko sent about, you want to keep your brown fat, right? Your brown fat, you lose brown fat over time and you want to hold on to it? Is that what it is?
I'm not sure about that.
As they said, set it at a temperature that takes your breath away and makes you shiver.
You might burn brown fat.
Maybe you burn the brown fat.
Someone can comment on there that's listening.
Yeah, someone tell us about brown fat.
I've definitely heard about brown fat through the years of listening to health and nutrition podcasts, and it's always wonderful to hear. Yeah. But then you're like,
what does it mean?
What does it mean? I just got to put in the work, right? It's
There's
like
so much stuff.
It's like someone telling you, Pat and I've been in meetings where they give you a play. It's like, that's great on paper, but what does it look like in real life, right? How do we execute this thing? So, all right, you do the cold plunge at 45 degrees. Shelby's doing it as well. The gratitude journal. I love
Huge.
that. I think that's great. I'm going to add that back in. I used to do the gratitude journal. I think every day starting out with 3 things you're grateful for is huge.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely helped me. And I thought all the journaling stuff was for the birds. And everyone's like, oh, you should journal. Like, I think it's real because you're actually setting time to be grateful. And you're like, oh, yeah, like I have a great house, great family, great community. But I think until you put it pen to paper, I don't think you really process that. But I do the cold plunge, and then I get up my middle son, Tate, and usually he's actually up waiting in the crib, which is great. And I'm not going to be gross on this podcast, but he takes a dump like from that time. And it's always like a fresh steamer. And I'm like, dude, we have to go in the shower. Like, this is out of control. So I go in the shower, like get him all set up. And now he's at the point where he kind of like stands in the hot water and he knows like to feel it. And if it's like too cold or too hot. So he sits there and to get him all cleaned up. And then now he kind of sees like my routine of like brushing my teeth. And like if you do the deodorant or like you do your hair, and like he wants to do everything that I'm doing, which is a good routine, I guess. He sees, a dad doing what he needs to do in the morning. So I think that's beneficial for young kids to see a routine like that.
Yeah, and you do have great hair, so that's he's gonna have your hair, which is both of y'all. You and Shelby both have wonderful hair, so your kids are very lucky.
I know I never had the dark strapping Italian baby gene. We have blonde hair babies and blue eyes, and I'm dark hair, dark eyes. I'm sorry, Mom. She never got the Italian baby.
Shelby's got a strong gene pool.
Gosh, who would have thought blonde hair, blue eyes has the dominant gene?
I'm not mad at it. I love a good blonde hair, blue eye. That's my daughter. That's me. So
yeah,
we'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So does coffee factor into this, or are you just going straight raw dog?
No, so I haven't even moved downstairs yet. So then
So he goes to sleep in the cold plunge.
No, because it's on the second level of the balcony. And then we make our way down, and then I'm in charge of breakfast. Shelby still got the little one. And my daughter Palmer's already up at this point. She comes in our room every morning, and we either put a show on real quick, like either it's like 6:30. She loves Dora the Explorer.
Okay.
Dora the Explorer, or, if it's something quick like Trash Truck. I don't like to give her TV time right off the bat. And Shelby's probably going to kill me because I said that out loud, because you're not supposed to do that like in the morning with kids. But it gives me like 20, 30 minutes. I get Tate, and then I go downstairs. I don't make banana pancakes from scratch like John. I try to do Kodiak. I try to do something that they would like. Sometimes it's fresh fruit. And then coffee machine then goes on, because I try to drink a whole mason jar full of water.
Very
like
nice.
32 ounces, 16 ounces. I try. I don't know if I'm just over the top, but I try to put the water in the body before. And then we get them out the door. So, yeah, it's like 8:45, 9 o'clock drop off. And then that's when I have my time to either punt in the morning or go to the gym. So I usually punt 2 days a week right now. And then gym, I'm probably 4 to 5 days a week.
And are you feeling pretty good about where the leg's at?
Oh, yeah, John.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm fresh and spry, ready to go, 34-year-old. I keep reminding myself that, and it's horrible to say out loud, because I remember when I was 21, when you first got in the league, Nick, and you're like, I'm going to play forever. And you like blink, and then you have 3 kids, and you're 34 years old, and you're just biohacking at 6:30 in the morning.
But the thing is, you're still trying to put yourself in an optimal position. You're not accepting, all right, I'm in my 30s, I'm just going to let it go. You're still in your prime, and you're getting better and better. You're staying in shape, and you're constantly learning and adding things in that are hard. I mean, the biggest thing, Pat, is like the discipline, right? Explain to the listeners too. So you punt and you lift, but you're not punting on back-to-back days, right?
Yeah, so I usually do like a pitch count right now, like either 30, 40 balls, like max, couple full effort kicks, but sometimes just like spinning them, like if you're in the driving range. I think that helps me. I don't know if it was like for you, if you didn't touch a ball for a while, where you feel like, it takes a couple weeks to kind of really get back into it. I like to feel limber enough where you're not going to like yank a hamstring while you're trying to punt for the first time when OTAs start up. Yeah. But you're a different guy. I know sometimes you were like, I didn't touch a ball for 3 months. You're just a freak athlete.
Well, yeah, and a lot of that too was strategy, though. So I was always a basketball, football. So in high school, when football season was over, I was so pumped to play basketball. And then once basketball season was coming to a close, I was excited to get back to working for football. So then all of a sudden your profession becomes one sport, and all you're doing is just one sport. Well, I was never a one sport kind of guy. That's why when we did our youth sports episode, we were talking, Evan was talking, do all the sports, play all the sports. Evan was also basketball, football. And I think that other sports make you better. Like football makes me better at basketball. Basketball makes me better at football. So in the off season for many years, it was like pick up basketball, lift weights, because playing pickup basketball it's a very athletic sport. You're working on agility. You're working on body control. You're getting great conditioning. I wouldn't necessarily touch a football. Sometimes I bring a football to the gym and the guys want me to throw it to them a little bit. But when we got back for off-season training in the NFL, I wanted to be super excited to grab a football and get back at it. And it took me about a week to I could throw it and I'd be fine. After a week or so, the spin was like perfect. My accuracy was back. I could do it subconsciously, just being a thrower. But it was all strategy. It wasn't from the perspective of laziness. It was, this will put me in the best position to be my best at this sport. But it's also stepping away from that sport for a certain amount of time. And that's what the beautiful thing is, you and I are different in that aspect. You want to keep that maintenance going. So your hamstring's ready, your punt's ready. You always want because you never know when that call is coming in, or even you did this when you were, with the Bears for a very long time. That is your routine. And that's the beautiful thing that we talk about is every single person's different. You have to do what's best for you, and only you know that by testing and working through it. And then you just sort of build your routine based on the person, not trying to copy everyone else's.
No, I think that's good. I think a lot of it too is I had a coach tell me that you only have so many kicks in your leg, and you probably felt like you only had so many throws in your arm, where you don't want to be gassed out by the time spring ball comes around for us when we're throwing in OTAs or kicking in OTAs. So I do think you keep that in the back of your mind for sure. But man, I did this like insane bench workout. I don't know if you've ever done the block where you kind of like flip it, where it's like basically a quarter, and then you flip it this way and it's a half, and then you do full reps. I did that yesterday, and I went to the field today to throw with this long snapper that was in town, and I felt like I couldn't even do a range of motion for did you ever bench press? Because I know everyone got on Tebow. It was like, oh, he's so like muscle bound. Like, can he even throw a football? Did you ever feel like you were too muscle bound if you did certain movements?
I wish I had that problem. I probably wouldn't have been as good of a thrower, but in college, definitely lifted a lot of weight. But then once you get to the NFL, a lot of strength coaches, people who are throwers, they don't want you to do the barbell bench. They always want you to do the dumbbell bench, just for more like muscle stabilization. And honestly, the best thing you can do as a thrower or punter is like real world full body activation exercises instead of just concentration and teaching that muscle to fire. Like if you're you're doing a curl, you're teaching that muscle fire there, but you can go do like pick up a sandbag, which is your full body. You're doing like the same thing, but you're teaching your body to fire at the appropriate time. So I think in the NFL, everything was a lot more functional as a thrower. Now that I'm not in the NFL, I hit some bench yesterday, and I'll hit some lat pull downs, and I'll hit all that stuff because with the running, I'm also doing strength training. But I love that workout. It almost sounds like 21s for curls, but you're like layering the chest. That sounds like a pretty tough workout. I want you to send me that after this episode.
It was pretty insane. Yeah. The kid that came in town for a long snapper, I was with him in Green Bay, and he has to bench 225 at this combine that he's going to out in Arizona. And he's a meathead. So he like put me through like this combine, basically chest workout that he was doing. But we also did some back squat, and then we did basically chin ups, but negatives. So we did all the different, wide, tight, more palms facing you. But I think like those are the movements that are key, especially for dads that have no time. Like if you just get a quick workout in, you don't have to go for like 15 miles every morning, right? You could either run quickly on a treadmill if you got 30 minutes, then hit a chest, hit a back, and break up your days like that, right?
Dude, you sound like there could be a future of like no days off fitness right here. I like that. Mm-hmm. You might have just created something for all dads and moms out there. We'll see.
I like it.
We don't need an hour of your time to get jacked and fit, okay? You just need methylene blue and 30 minutes of high intense training.
Hey, we'll on the reel, we'll cut in some video of when we did the cold plunge with Pat.
Yeah, definitely.
This is the most cut punter in world history.
Unbelievably jacked.
Probably arguably one of the fastest punters too. I mean, what was your 40? 4.65, 4.6?
Mm-hmm. Official time, yes, Nick. Unofficial, you know.
I mean, if I had that time,
that's crazy, dude. I didn't know that. Yeah, Pat, you're a beast, bro.
He's an absolute beast. He's a specimen, and only everything you're doing. I mean, being 34 years old, it's just gonna keep getting better. But that's just the morning. Is there anything else in the morning, Pat?
No, I mean, after I go to the gym and I do the workout, it usually brings me to lunch, and I try to have a nice meal there, and then it's time basically for pickup for the kids, and then the afternoon starts.
Yeah,
you know, that 3 o'clock hour.
Oh, so, we're about to get there.
Another morning hack that I just remembered that I've been doing that has been absolutely transcendent for my life. Walk up to my wife, give her a little kiss, say, "I love you, babe. Let's have a great day."
Yeah. She takes you seriously too?
She does.
Yeah. She's not like, why are you messing?
She says she loves it.
Oh, that's great.
You know, we're keeping this thing fresh.
Yes.
Keeping the spark alive.
I love it. Oh, that's great.
I read a book, No Days Off Pod book club, that we'll probably have to start at some point.
There's a lot of ideas. There's a lot of ideas in this room and on this screen. And I see everyone, but you'll just see Pat. And then, you know, I know Rod and I were talking. Because, you know, we're talking about that, but Rod's a specimen as well. I mean, 5-mile run this morning.
Yes, sir.
That's light work for Rod.
You know, he's really gotten in because the ultra runner who just won the Moab 240, Max, y'all did a podcast with Cheeto, and it really inspired you, huh?
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, and you also did with your half marathon, and whatever comes after that.
Yeah, I'm working towards it. I haven't done 240 miles, but I've done 13.1.
I want in on that training.
Hey.
But real quick, I want to tell you guys about the brown fat thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just looked it up. So cold exposure, ice baths, activate your brown fat cells. And what brown fat does is it helps you maintain body temperature, and it will protect against obesity and other diseases.
Right. So you want brown fat.
Yeah, and it helps you maintain your brown fat.
Yeah, because you lose it as you get older.
Yeah.
I think that's what I heard too.
I get
Brown fat. So I nailed it, basically.
You nailed it.
You nailed it.
But then I think the application, because you hear that, and I think a listener will hear that, all right, but it's like you still got to do the little things, right? It's every little thing you do. And it's also, you talk about the consistency.
Right.
So what routine can we build each day that we can be consistent with? And then also have grace with when we break it. Like I'm about to travel to Philadelphia for a few days. I'll fly out of LAX, all that stuff. I'm going to get my run in the morning. I might have to wake up at like 4:15, but I'm going to get it in, and then I'm going to have to change my routine. So that's always the kicker. I know y'all travel a lot for work, so the routines get crazy with travel. But I think that, too, talking about the morning, let's go into like afternoon, night, just to bring it all together. Let's do like a reverse order. Pat, since you were already going, let's go a little, you just did your morning, then going into the afternoon and nighttime routine.
Since we're sitting here at 3:30 here, my time, my afternoon's about to kick off when the kids get back.
Oh, yeah.
So we like to do a fun activity. So we either try to do the park. We've been trying to go to the beach. It's just been nice here. And I just want to tell you, if you guys haven't brought your kids to the beach, it is the most nerve-wracking experience for the first time. Besides carrying all the stuff, like all they want to do is possibly hurt themselves. So like you're on high alert, and I'm just trying to enjoy it, and I'm like, oh, I'm barefoot, I'm grounded,
Which is real. It does help.
Oh my gosh, jellyfish, and then they want to touch the jellyfish, and you're like, oh no. But I try to have like a learning. Well, I'm like, oh, it's a jellyfish, like just like our book, like Jellyfish Jones, like that song. So we pack them all up, and then we get them a dinner by like 5:30. And then we do popsicle baths. I don't know if you've ever done any of this, but it's one of the healthier popsicles we try to find. It's like actual fruit juice. We get them in the bath, and then they're playing in there. And then we have like a wind down time where if they want to watch a show, or sometimes they perform some type of show. They're really into like tag teaming a show where Tate usually sings, and then Palmer like dresses up, and we have to sit there, and then we clap.
Yep.
And then
do they make tickets for you too? Like, hey, here's your ticket to the show.
Yes. And how do they know that you need a ticket to the show? They're already trying to get in our pockets, Nick.
Well, our kids did the other night, and they legit wanted real money. And I'm like, I'll tell you what, I'll make you breakfast tomorrow, and you don't have to pay for it. That's your money.
At what age do they realize that you actually spend money and that they cost? Like, things cost money in life. The milk just doesn't appear in the fridge. Is it middle school? Yeah. Is that when they realize things?
I don't know. It's probably different for everyone. We try to explain to them that, things cost money, and we're trying to teach them that. Like, Lily has a student store, so we'll give her hey, here's $5. You can buy some pencils or whatever, but you have to buy your brother Duke something, because the worst is when she comes back with a couple things, Duke sees it and he wants something. But it's amazing when she buys something. She says, "Hey, Duke, I got you this." It's just he's so happy. It could be even like a little eraser that was 25 cents, but it's from his sister, and she got it for him, and it's just so special. And I think that sort of helps Lily right now, being a first grader, understand money. But then it's also, how do you get the money? Well, right now she's going to mommy and daddy, but we are teaching her little things to earn money or chores. And just the other day, she actually did something. She wasn't trying to earn money, something that we didn't do. We thought they were putting on a show. They were putting on a show. They were making a restaurant, like you were saying. And so they went upstairs, and we loved it because it allowed us to reset the kitchen, get everything clean, do the dishes. We think they're upstairs getting ready for the restaurant show, which we need a ticket, and this is where they want us to pay our bills. And we go up there, and they're all dressed in really nice clothes, but the boy's hair and Lily's hair was wet, and Bodie's hair was he has a mullet right now. We just want him to rock the mullet. He's got this blonde hair. He's a beach bum. He loves the beach. It's wet. And we're like, how did Duke and Bodie's hair get wet, Lily? She's like, oh, I just bathed them. I go, Lily's, what do you mean? She's like, oh, we just all showered and got them all. We're like, wait, so everyone's clean and ready for this? Has never happened. We didn't even tell her to do it. She had gotten all the boys. They had all done a fun little shower party. They had all cleaned. They had all gotten themselves dressed. She even put a diaper on Bodie, which we did have to double check, and she did a great job. Because they wanted to be their best for the restaurant. They felt like they should be clean for the restaurant. And Tori and I had no clue. We were super impressed with all the kids because they were all in. They were all happy. Duke loved it. Bodie loved it. And Lily just took charge. It was really fun. It was really special. And then it was an ultimate parent hack. Lily, I don't think it'll ever happen again, but it did cross our mind. Is this something? I'll give you $1 a day.
Yeah. How do we nurture this?
How do we nurture this? But at the same time, that bath time with the boys is, I would love to say special, but it's a crazy time. I could sit here and lie and be like, oh, it's super special. Man, it is who wants to be in the front of the bath? Who's in the back? They're fighting, but it also is time that we never get back, and we try to enjoy, which some nights we're great, and some nights you're pretty tired and you're just trying to make it through, and then the wind down. But yeah, I understand what you're saying with the acting and the shows and all those things.
My son's in the big stall tactic too, where it doesn't matter if I read him one book or 50 books. There's always one more, and then I had to draw a line and say this is the last book, and then even if he cries, I have to walk out of the door.
Yep.
And I'm like a softie where I'm like, all right, this is a great time. I'll read him one more book. And then Shelby's more like, you're going to bed. And I'm glad that sometimes she takes that and she'll just close the door, even if he cries. I'm like, that was a little aggressive, but.
All right, we'll cut that as a reel and tag Shelby.
Yeah, we'll get Shelby's going to be on the show. I think we're going to have to bring the ladies on because we're going to say our day, and then they'll be like, hey, what are the real days in life like? They'll tell the truth. We might. Who knows what they'll probably debunk some stuff we're saying. But no, that's And then so you get the kids down. Shelby, boom, you're going to bed. All right, now the kids are all asleep. What is that time like for you and Shelby before you go to bed?
So on the good days, I have something prepped for dinner, and then we're probably eating at that time just so we can relax. And then we do try to watch a show. I know we talked about White Lotus and how every episode it feels like nothing ever happened in the show. But yeah, we try to do that, and she's always either fallen asleep by the time the episode ends, and I try to have my biohacking red light or blue light glasses on.
Blue light blocking glasses? Absolutely.
I learned that from you. Dude, I'm just trying to get my HRV up. Like, I don't know if that's going to do anything, but like, according to this Whoop band, like, I am just stuck like in the 40s. And when the long snapper, my buddy, came down, his name is Jack, he's like in the 90s. And some days he's like over 100. I don't know, John, am I just not doing enough cardio? Am I not getting my heart rate up to that threshold?
To be honest, I don't know. I don't even know what my HRV is. And you tracked, how did you track it?
I'm on the Whoop band.
Oh, okay.
And I know Nick has, you have the Aura ring, right, Nick?
Yeah, I've tried everything out. Like I said, I wear my Garmin does it as well. It's wrist-based. The thing I like, and I've tried all the rings out. There's some really great rings out there. Honestly, nothing really holds a candle to Aura. Aura ring they just have so much going on. It's very complex, all the different things. That's their main focus. So I'm with you, though. I think everyone's HRV is different based on who they are and what they do. And I've definitely seen people with like crazy HRVs, and then, yours and mine are very similar with where we're at. But that's also where I like to train and see where it is at in the morning. Yeah. I have a buddy who, was a Navy SEAL for many years, and they were wearing Aura rings. And I asked him, how did you utilize it? And he said and I actually liked what he said. He said that they would wear it to sleep to see recovery, but he would take it off in the morning. So I have my Aura ring on. He'd take it off. They go do their training, everything they did, Navy SEAL. He wouldn't look at the data till the next night before he went to bed, because the problem too is you look at too much data, it affects your day. So you could wake up actually feeling all right and look at your data and be like, you shouldn't do anything today. And then in your mind, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't. I liked what he did. He waited till the next night, and then he saw if it aligned with how he felt. So like he goes through his day, he goes through his training, he goes through everything they do, and then he looks at his Aura score and all his data, and he's like, all right, does this align with how I felt? I'm like, man, that's the best way to do it. So in the mornings right now, I have it on. I have the data. I'm not looking at it like crazy. Later in the day, if there's time where I'm looking at my training for the next day, sort of planning it out, I'll be like, hey, I'll remember, oh yeah, I have the Aura ring on. Let me see what my sleep and everything was like, and just see, because I already had my training in for the day. I already did everything I needed to do physically. Let me see where I'm at. So that might be a hack out there for people, is don't look at your data first thing in the morning. Wait till the end of the day and see if it aligned with how you felt that day.
It's a good hack.
Yeah, little hack.
Now, Pat, I have a question for you. Because you were talking about being 34, and how old would you be if you never knew your birthday?
Probably not a day over 29.
See, there we go. Because there's a difference between your chronological age and your biological age, right? How old you are on the cellular level. That's what Asprey and Brian Johnson are all about. So you might actually just be a 28, 29-year-old.
You know what I could be? I'm going to put that in my my agent packet when they talk to all the teams, like, and free agency. Like, this is actually how he feels with his biomarkers. So I need to get my blood drawn and have them check that out. No, but
there's a biological age test where you can take a test and it'll tell you how old your actual biological age is versus how old you are. It'd be interesting for you guys to do that.
Yeah, we should all do that.
I'd probably
be like a Q&A question.
Like, you're actually 50.
I asked my wife that question one time early on in our relationship. She's like, probably 70. I don't know.
I think the preface to that,
according to Nick, when you go to bed at 9 o'clock, they might be like, man, this guy's like 75.
I know. I mean, I'm trying to eat earlier and do all the little things. I think, too, whenever you do a test like that, the biggest thing, Roddy, I know what you're talking about, is, all right, if I do this test, are there ways to reverse this and make me healthier? Because if I'm just doing the test to find out my biological age just as a number, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter to me. But if there's like, hey, we're going to look at these markers, and this is where you're at, but I know how to make it better. Like Daniel Amen, he's a renowned doctor, focused on the brain, written a lot of books. I've done work with him just because brain health. I played a combat sport. I want to be around a long time and have my brain work for a long time for my children and my grandchildren. That's my dream. So I did different tests to optimize. And the thing I love about Dr. Amen is he's going to show you where you're at, but he's also going to show you where you can get to. And there's always an opportunity to get to somewhere really special, but there's things you have to do in life, you know, whether it's staying away from alcohol or sleep or nutrition or whatever it may be that can help your brain heal and get to a better area. So that's what I like about, you know, whenever you're doing these tests, they're just where you're at that time, and then there's a playbook and a game plan to then get better. To ultimately, the goal of this is to optimize our life and how we feel for our children and for our spouses and for our friends and for ourselves. Not just like, hey, I want to be young and, I love there's the thing like live forever and whatever, but I think we talked about before the show, make the most out of each day. Live in the moment. I always think of Matthew 6:34 from the Bible, and it's just don't worry about tomorrow. It has its own problems. Just focus on the day. And I try to remind myself that is being present as a father, being present as a person is one of the most important things you'll ever do is just live in the moment. When I was playing, we used to say something, be where your feet are. It was always a reminder, be where your feet are. There was times in games where things would happen. A couple interceptions would happen. Maybe it was on a bad team. And I would go down and I'd rip out some grass and I'd put grass in my hand and I'd sort of like let it fall out of my hand. Because that little act that I don't know why I created it was just to feel the grass come out. I came back to the present moment of looking at the blades of grass as opposed to worrying about every single thing that could happen. I was like, this is just where I'm going to be, and I'm going to be present. So I think that's the best thing we can do is be the best you can be present. And just, all these little things are just, we're trying to optimize our days for our family and for our friends.
Beautiful.
Whew.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about the future, the unknown. It's unknown. You can't know it, right? But you can project your fears and your worries and your anxieties and create a future that's not optimal, or you can stay present and live your life to the fullest.
Exactly.
Right? And we were saying, it's not about the years in your life, it's about the life in your years.
I think the biggest thing you can do is, and I think about it each day, and I'm not perfect at this. I struggle at it, and, I get my own feelings or I get tired. All the things, like we're human beings. Like we're not like, even if when we were playing, people looked at us like we weren't human. We're human beings that are just playing a sport and trying to do the best we can. Is how can I impact my sphere of influence around me? Everyone's sphere of, and what that means is your community, right? Some people have larger communities where when we played sports and we're in front of, the media, we have a reach of a larger community. But there's also people that maybe it's just your family under your roof, or maybe it's just yourself or whatever it may be. But like being impactful to that sphere by being the best version you can. And a lot of that too is like serving them. Actions speak louder than words, all those different things. I was just at, church the other day speaking to a young group of, working, they were in their like 20s and 30s, and I'm 36, but I was speaking to them. They're single and they're working, and just faith, my testimony and my faith. But the biggest in the workplace, how do you share that? And I think the biggest thing I said is, yeah, you could go like put the Bible down and share the Bible, but the biggest thing is your actions. When we're in a facility, Pat and I, you want your actions to speak louder than what you're saying. You want to back up what you're saying. We hear this all the time. It's one of the hardest things to do. So that's where, Pat talks about the gratitude journal. Yep. You talk about your morning routine. I talk about my morning routine. The point of those morning routines is to put us in a position to where our actions can speak louder than our words, because we're putting ourselves in a position to succeed that day and be the best version of ourselves. And we're sort of beating a dead horse, but like that's the key, and that's the, makes the most abundance of life is, it's not about money, it's not about things, it's not about fame. It's about the loved ones, it's about your community, it's about your children, it's about living in the moment and enjoying those life moments that you can never get back. And especially with us, with young kids, there's so many things that are going on. Like we had t-ball practice, I have flag football today. There's stuff going on everywhere, but I leave the field I'm like, man, this is really cool. Like giving Duke after t-ball practice, like, hey man, you had a great practice. Did you have fun? Yeah, I had fun. I give him knuckles. At some point, I'm not going to be able to like have a little Duke in my back seat that's 4 years old playing t-ball. He's going to be a grown man and, someday have children. Yep. And it's just going to be so different. So I try to put myself in a position where I can really soak that in. And once again, I do fall short of that at times. Just like most parents, if not every parent, you sort of regret, you overlook it, and then you're like, oh man, I really just didn't take it in. But that's the point of everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it can feel like, I think we've talked about this before, where it can feel like you're being selfish to prioritize the time for yourself, but it's actually selfless, right? Because when you're setting those examples, like you just said, and it's the same whether you're fatherhood or a leader at work, people won't always they won't always do what you tell them, but they will do what you do, And so if you can set those examples for your children and keep perspective that it's just a limited run, they're going to grow up one time, they're going to be somebody's husband, they're going to be somebody's father, and how did you set them up for that?
Yeah.
Man, it's wild. This is a crazy thing.
Yeah.
Fatherhood.
Really potent episode right now.
I love it, man.
You're going to shed a tear.
A lot of nuggets. A lot of nuggets.
A lot of nugs.
We got a couple more afternoon night routines, and then we'll sort of
I'll blitz through mine because it's pretty much the same, and Roddy knows this. So non-negotiable 5:30. If we're in town, we're having a family dinner, and we're just setting that foundation for the kids. We're talking to Jack about his day. He might not answer. We're putting food in front of him. He might not eat. He might throw that bowl. But we're presenting dinner to him, and that's what we do every night at 5:30. Say a little grace. We bless our food. We eat. We try to do the best we can with him and Romy. Romy will go down around 7. Jack has just been stalling. So last night I don't think he got down till like 9:30. Usually when the kids are down, Danielle and I will go into the sauna. We'll wrap up the day, talk about how everything went.
Great sauna.
Bang out a couple emails. Yeah, Nick's been in that sauna.
It's a great
Good sauna. We need to set up another sauna sesh, by the way.
Yeah, we'll get it in.
We'll make it happen. And then a little bit of a show. Red light glasses on. Bedtime. Get ready to do it all over again.
Yeah, and then the weekend happens and it's a free-for-all.
Oh, then it's just
or
nuts.
a work trip and it's just craziness. But those are like the days when you're here.
Yep, that's the structure.
Yeah, I'll streamline mine as well. We hit the afternoon. I try to get a run and a lift in. Run 6 days, lift 5, but I break them up. The smaller lifts, 30 minutes, 35. Afternoon, try to eat something healthy. We've been crushing Goop Kitchen out here in Orange County, healthy, seed oil free, all that stuff. Wish we could eat that way all the time, but there's sometimes we go out and you're just going to enjoy the community, you're going to enjoy who you're with. There are days where if I have the time in the afternoon and it's calm at the house, Bodie's taking a nap, I'll set a timer on my watch for 30 minutes and I'll lay down and take like a 25-minute power nap because it takes a couple minutes to fall asleep. And then after that, Pat and I, there's always different things we can do with dad season. So right now we've been working on a bunch of tech packs for our new performance training gear. So we're going to come out with, 2 new T-shirts and a lighter weight hoodie that we can train in. And it actually be perfect timing for football and perfect timing for running and fighting. So we're working on the performance gear. We have a bunch of new hats. Tori's been working on the mom season gear, the mom season hats. Shelby, holds it down with all the shipping and Shopify and emails. Customer service, so many things out there. So it's truly a team effort. So I try to spend some time on, and then we build the podcast episodes, right? So just the Google Docs. I'm constantly sending ideas to everyone of like, hey, this is going to be the episode, this is going to be it. And we do like a team collaboration. So I try to take that time to work on dad season gear, dad season stuff, what we need going on. And there's times where, Pat and Shelby, Tori and I will jump on our shipping meetings and our marketing meetings and whatsoever. And then Bodie's sleeping, pick up for schools Lily's around 2:30, Duke's at 3. So it's like we tag team that. Tori, one of us will stay with Bodie, the other one will go do that. And then there's youth sports. So we have T-ball practice some days, we have flag football some days. So it's just organizing that. So afternoons are for the kids. And then same thing, John, like we'll make dinner at home. Tori's an amazing cook. I'm great as well, but I really like sticking to the mac and cheese and chicken tenders is always it always crushes.
Don't miss.
Does not miss. So kids will eat. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes they just want a bar, but they always want dessert. So it's like they won't eat. And then they'll be like, I want dessert. And like when we say dessert, it's like a piece of dark chocolate or like a healthy popsicle. It's not like, hey, here's a piece of like cheesecake or something, which love cheesecake though.
Or a gallon of blueberries.
Yeah.
Or just
something healthy. Like we try to like teach them desserts can also be like fruit or dark chocolate or something like that. And then it'll be the wind down time where it'll be, shower, baths, all that stuff. And this will all happen. It'll be around 6:30. We'll all try to go upstairs as a family. Tori's upstairs bathing them, and then I'll clean the kitchen and do the dishes. So we tag team that.
Same.
Tori handles that, clean the kitchen and stuff like that. 6:30 to like 7:15, we'll watch a show. Kids love Spidey and Friends. They love a bunch of different things. I do too. I'm not gonna lie.
Spidey and Friends is a banger.
When I sit up there, I do sometimes get into a trance of what's on TV, and then before I know it, the kids are not there, and Tori's like, "Are you not?" And she's like, "You need." I am super guilty of getting in a trance with the kids shows, but they're really good. Bodie usually goes down around 7:15, and then the other kids we let stay up till about 8. Tori will go in with Lily. Lily will have some homework or some reading. Duke and I'll chill out there and watch some Spidey and Friends together. He'll cuddle up next to me, and then we try to get Duke and Lily down around 8. They have a favorite song that we do. So we go to bed. We do the reading. We always pray with them. I wish sometimes my prayers were always super robust. Sometimes they're really simple. But we always try to pray with them, and we're trying to teach them how to pray. And then we do Twinkle Twinkle Little Star by Jewel. That's their song every night. They have to listen to it. And then we turn on the sound machine. Like, where did sound machines come from? Like, are our kids going to go to college with sound machines? Now I have to sleep with a sound machine. Like, I can't sleep without noise, whereas before I had to have it quiet. Now it's like I can't go to sleep without a sound machine. And I think it's because when you have kids, you could hear the subtle cries, but you really only need them when it's like an epic cry.
Yep.
So now, you know,
what
the sound
setting?
Well, the sound machine, just the white noise.
The white noise, yeah.
It just depends.
Ours has a few settings, like laundry room setting, and
ours is dryer. I don't know if I could do that, man.
Wild.
I don't know if I could do that. Ours is just like the white noise, and then our son Duke, when he was younger, used to love it super loud. I'm like, no, this is like torture. You can't have it that loud. He's like, I want it loud. And he's like, no, we're not loud. So it's just like a subtle noise. And then they go to sleep, and then Tori and I will get ready for bed. Right now, like I said, I'm going to bed at 9 o'clock, trying to 9:15. It's good for Tori too, because the mornings are starting. Bodie's climbing out of his crib at like 6 a.m. or whatever it may be. We'll try to watch a show. Last night was White Lotus. It just, I guess it was 3rd episode. So when you hear this, it'd probably be the 4th episode. And then we also
great show.
It's a great show. I do like the cinematography with the different settings of like where the sound comes in, and then they'll have a shot of someone doing something. It's not really the acting part.
Yeah.
But it just, for some reason, you're excited to watch the next one. And it's been that way with all the seasons. Like at the end of it, I'm just looking at it thinking, what was that? But then when the new season comes on, you watch it. I don't know what they're doing to our brains, but it's doing something.
There's usually a pretty good payoff.
Yeah.
I think it's worth it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still watching it, and I really like Doc, though. The show DOC, Doc. That's a great show where the doctor is in a car accident. She had a tragedy. She lost her son. So then for, I think it was 8 years, became the chief doctor, and wasn't the best person, but she was an amazing doctor. But then she has a traumatic brain injury in a car accident and forgets the 8 years of her life. So she didn't even remember her son passing. So her personality is that before the wreck, where she's like a very loving, caring person. Then she has to she's no longer a doctor. Anyway, DOC, Doc, great show, 1st season. I really like watching that one as well. And then we go to bed at 9 and hopefully get a good amount of sleep. Hopefully the kids don't come in. We do have definitely some run-ins. I'd say like 3 to 4 days a week. Someone will come in, Duke and Lily fighting, or someone got on they're sharing a room right now, so someone's annoying someone. But eventually everyone goes to sleep, and then the day starts all over. And that's just a sample. That's not every single day, right? But I always find it fascinating. That's like the real life thing, and this might be fun to do. We were talking about maybe just doing a little documentary of a day in the life, and do like what everyone's doing on YouTube. Yeah. And maybe we can be a impactful, silly episode. Maybe we get a little yoga shot. We were doing yoga yesterday.
Yep.
We all like some yoga. Roddy likes some. Roddy's great at yoga.
Roddy's just a beast.
I love yoga.
Yeah.
We all do.
How would you describe the yoga that we're doing?
It's more of a workout.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard.
Like my background comes more from Ashtanga yoga, which is like a traditional form of yoga that Vinyasa flow is based off of. Spent about 2 years collectively in India studying and practicing, and I did yoga 6 days a week at 5 a.m. for 8 years straight, and then got bored
That's
of
intense.
it. But I've been doing yoga for over 20 years.
And you've seen so many benefits.
Well, I mean, I just think it's a great piece to the puzzle. If you're an athlete, like a lot of people, especially in the yoga community, say you're only as old as your spine is flexible. So like if you can continue to touch your toes and do a back bend when you're 70, you're probably capable of doing a lot of other things as well. So for people like who put a lot of stress and strain on their body, I think yoga is a really important thing to bring into the mix, for sure.
I love that. And you specifically like the hot yoga.
Well, I've transitioned to hot yoga because I just felt like Ashtanga yoga was very mechanical. Like you're doing the exact same practice every single day. And our practice is the same in hot yoga every day too. But I love that red line that you get from hot yoga where every cell in your body is saying quit right now.
Yeah. It's like endurance running.
Yeah.
Like endurance running. That's why I love the running aspect and got me into it. For many years, I've studied all these endurance athletes. Ultra running's becoming really big.
Yep.
I love it because when I go and run, I'm a big guy, so it's not normal for me to go do this. But when I was training for a marathon before life happened, all that, I got up to a 17-mile long run. And what I love is you actually see the steady consistency. You get better and better, and you adapt, and your body is amazing. It just adapts and adapts. And then all of a sudden you can listen to a book, you can listen to a podcast, you can actually retain it. You're not just thinking how hard it is. And then, but there's times where you're like, man, I got to quit. You have this mental battle. And that's what I love about it. And that's where just watching the ultra running documentaries, just every time, Courtney Dauwalter, who's one of the greatest of all time, she talks about the pain cave and how she used to be afraid of the pain cave. And now that's her happiest place. Like she wants to get to that pain cave. And that's why she's the greatest that's where she wants to live. Because that's where she knows she's growing. Because she's doing something epic and super hard. And this is intense. Like 200-mile, there's about to be the first 300-mile race. All these things. It's a growing sport. It's fascinating. I'd probably have to lose a little bit of weight if I was ever going to do that. But it's something that is on the horizon. Working on building that base through these half marathons, and we'll see. And then sounds like Roddy's running, and we'll get John in after the fight. We'll get him some running.
I can't wait. I'm going to start running now. I think Roddy's biological age is probably like 8 years old. This kid is fresh.
Yeah, he stays sharp. Discipline.
One thing I do in my morning routine that I didn't hear you guys talk about, daily NAD.
NAD. Yeah, I do have some NAD. Yeah, Row Nutrition NAD right now.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
liposomal. That's
liposomal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just have to remember.
I need to bring that back in.
Yeah.
So nice.
I sometimes forget to do it. But the AG1 and all that, I know everyone has their different opinions, but it's just easy, simple. I'm about to get all my blood work results, so I'll probably be tinkering with different things, but it's fascinating. And then, the yoga. When Roddy was talking, I was like, all right, there's a lot. Pickleball.
Yep.
Growing sport. I love it myself. I need to play it more than I do everyone I go play with, because ESPN picked up something where I played in a tournament.
He's even winning tournaments.
Yeah, I won some like 3-5 tournaments and stuff. Like, let's just keep it like where it is. I am still growing. I can play and I can have fun, and I'm an athlete. But all you pickleballers out there, get some hot yoga in. It'll help you, because what happens is there's a lot of back injuries, there's a lot of Achilles injuries, there's a lot of calf injuries. You got to go out there, get that flexibility back. It'll enhance your pickleball skills. So if you're listening to this and you're a pickleball player, hit up some yoga. Yoga studios are going to be very happy we said that, because it's going to up their business. But you and I loved it. We had an epic workout yesterday, and we shot a couple pictures that I posted, and we'll try to keep building on that, because the goal of this podcast, in the conclusion, is we want to build a community. So part of building a community is knowing the people behind the community, behind the brand, behind the podcast. Because then you're just in this room with us. You're part of the conversation. You might be on a run right now listening to this. You might be in your car driving your kids to a practice. You might just be alone at this time. We want you to be a part of the community as we grow this brand of apparel, hats, performance gear, podcast, potential fitness line. Who knows? We want to be transparent. We want to share these things. So you join our community and grow with us, because that's the most important thing, is to be a part of the community. So that being said, we just want to thank you all for joining and listening, maybe watching on YouTube, and we can't wait to see you next time.
Should we do a dad joke?
Oh, I just did. I mean, I was on a roll.
Dude, that was solid.
You like that?
I feel like we should wrap it up,
Yeah.
but we also have to keep with tradition.
Yeah, we do. So that being said.
And also make sure you're following us on Instagram at NoDaysOff.DadSeason.
And don't forget to sub on YouTube.
Yeah, sub, like, subscribe, 5 stars, all of it. Okay, boys.
Dad
Here's
joke.
one that I have for all of you. How does the moon cut his hair?
Well, it doesn't have hair.
In this world, it has hair.
It has hair.
How does the moon cut his hair? Eclipse it.
Oh, and that's perfect, because we have an Eclipse hat.
That's right.
I don't know if it's on display anywhere. It's somewhere.
Might need to print that one inside the Eclipse hat. Limited run.
Limited run Eclipse hat. That was good.
right.
Eclipse it.
Okay.
That's good. Well, I already did my outro. It was an outro. Is that what it's called?
It's an outro. That's a wrap.
So that's a wrap. Thank you.
Pat, we love you. Enjoy Jupe.